Yeah, it's interesting, Alana Jaylo. We were just talking about Nana Visitor and Alexander Siddi, I believe he pronounces his last name.
Or is it Sadiq?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
But they got married during Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
They had a son together, and eventually they got a divorce. However, from what I can tell, they seem like pretty good friends still.
Right, they were able to keep it amicable.
I wonder how that went down. Is it just because time passed and they were able to reconnect after maybe a bad breakup? Or is it that their marriage just didn't work but they still loved each other? Or did a lot of it have to do with going to the same conventions? Because there's a lot of Star Trek conventions. And they realized, hey, for the sake of this show, we should put our differences aside.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I would like to think that maybe their marriage didn't work out, but even though they still loved each other, they just couldn't make it work for the sake of their son.
I've told you that recently I've started watching his YouTube channel and interviews with Alexander Siddiq. And I always just assumed that he was just this like arrogant asshole guy, right?
But you're wrong.
Right, because I heard about the divorce and I never really liked Bashir. But on at least his public persona, he seems like a genuine person, which was kind of shocking to me.
I think it's really shocking when you have this idea about how celebrities are supposed to be.
Yeah.
When it's great if you have an idea of a celebrity that you really like that is positive, and they really are that way.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
But I think it's even interesting if you think one celebrity is really arrogant because of their character, but they're actually not.
Yeah, he seems like a very open, loving person. And same with Nana Visitor. I always thought that she was, kind of intense because of Major Kira.
Yeah, but it's just her character.
Yeah, but she plays her so well on the show.
She does. I mean, they both do. Well, I mentioned to you about the guy who plays Ducat, and how I just don't like Ducat. I don't like the character. I don't trust the character, but it's a character, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't reflect on the person that the actor really is. And I said, he plays him so well, it's like you love to hate him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He plays Ducat so well that you just love to hate him, even though you have to separate the character from the actor.
Andrew Robinson, the guy who plays Garrick on the show, seems like a really cool guy. He seems like one of those old liberals, like very progressive, but not in identity politics.
Not like so far radical that you can't talk to him.
Yeah, like he seems like a free speech guy, which I am too.
Yeah.
He seems like the type of liberals who taught me when I was going to high school.
The kind that you could still have conversations with even if you didn't agree with him.
Yeah, although with him I think I'd agree with him on a lot of stuff, but I hear what you're saying.
I know what you mean.
Yes.
I do. I will say this, as much as I am not a liberal, I will say that I do respect liberals that will allow people to give ideas that may not agree with or may not be popular. I think that says a lot about a person.
I think that's how you have the battle of ideas, is you allow each one to be heard, and then you disseminate them and find out which ones work for you.
That is why it's called the marketplace of ideas.
I like that, babes.
I've heard that term recently, and I like that term. It's the marketplace of ideas.
We used to always say that back in the day.
Well, I didn't hear that until recently. I didn't know that in your school you would call it the marketplace of ideas.
I mean, we would say that about a lot of things. The library, school, college.
Right. I just think that that's so important.
Yeah, let each idea have its chance to flourish or fall.
And if you don't agree with it, you can move on.
But it is a little bit crazy how there's flat earthers out there. You've heard about this movement, right?
No, I don't, but I don't understand that. What can you explain that to me, please?
Okay, the way I understand it,
flat earthers, huh?
Yeah. There's a bunch of people on YouTube with all these conspiracy theories about how the government doesn't want us to know that the earth is flat. And they're basically again, I haven't watched a lot of these videos.
That's odd.
But I think the argument is that all of the pictures of Earth from space are faked by NASA.
Huh?
And we're just led to believe, for whatever reason, that the Earth is completely flat. And they even have conventions now.
Okay, that's really weird.
Yeah, it is.
So speaking of round and flat Earths, I remember this cartoon. I think it was on Looney Tunes, and they were kind of doing a parody on the discovery of the Earth being round. And it was funny because there were these guys that were arguing. It's like, she's a flat. No, she's a round. No, she's a flat.
In real life, it was more complicated.
It was more complicated, but it was a cartoon.
Yeah.
I just thought of that. I just thought of that. That just came to my mind when you were talking about the flat Earth conspiracy theory. That's really weird, really.
Yes, there is. You can go on YouTube and find them. The videos.
And did you ever watch any of them?
I've seen clips of them. I've never watched one from beginning to end. CBS, about 2 years ago, did a report about flat earthers.
That is...
Where they went to one of the conventions.
That is so odd.
I know that Neil deGrasse Tyson has offered to debate... No, did he offer to debate a flat earther, or did he say that he wouldn't debate one of them? I can't remember. There's some controversy with him over debating one of them.
A flat earther, huh?
Yeah.
What kind of evidence would they have? I don't understand that.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess people can believe what they want to believe. It doesn't really affect me. But it does say something about how do they process other thoughts.
That's what I mean. I mean, how... Because anyone can come up with an idea that maybe they had an idea that may be controversial because it's not popular, right? Mm-hmm. But it's so not popular that people are like, how in the world can they... How would they have evidence to back up their claim? You know what I mean?
I like that Carl Sagan saying, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of the flat earth thing, but that's kind of, it's a little strange, but wow. Did you just find it accidentally?
Joe Rogan's talked about it a lot.
Oh, Joe Rogan.
And I believe he has talked about it with Neil deGrasse Tyson. And also CBS has talked about it, and other places have gone into it too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's, I guess, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Mm-hmm. That's a little odd, but yeah.
Jaylo.
Yes.
What did you think of the episodes of DS9 we watched yesterday?
Wow. Very, very good. Very, very good. I really liked both of them, actually.
Tell me about the episode on the Klingon battleship.
Is that the one with Dukat and Kira?
They might have that might have been a B plot that was very small, and honestly, I don't remember. But it's the one that focuses more on Worf and his relationship with his son.
That one, okay. I should have just asked you that. I thought it was so interesting because I did not know when we were going to run into Alexander, Worf's son, and I didn't know much about Alexander, only that he was in TNG, but he was much younger.
Do you want to give maybe a quick synopsis of the episode and then go into more of your thoughts?
Yes. Alexander comes onto the Klingon battleship and tells Worf, his father, that he wanted to be a warrior for this war that they're having with the Dominion. Is that right?
Correct so far.
Yes. And now they're battling it out with each other in a sense because Worf from what Worf understood is that his son Alexander did not want to be a warrior ever since he was a child. He said, I don't want to be a warrior. And now he says he wants to be a warrior. And Alexander comes back and says, well, you haven't been there for me for a long time. You treated me like I was a burden. I was raised by earthly parents. You know, I mean, I was adopted, and you just didn't, you haven't talked to me in 5 years, and now you want to give me advice on how to be a warrior. And it was the battle with the two of them, and the Klingons were really poking fun at Alexander because he didn't know anything about fighting. He didn't know anything about being a Klingon warrior, and he was just the disgraced son of Worf.
Could I fill in a couple of blanks there?
Yes.
Okay, so they're making fun of him for a couple of reasons. It first starts off because he's the son of the first officer, and he has no house, right? Mm-hmm. Because Worf comes originally from the House of Moog, which is disgraced, and now he's part of the House of Martok.
Yep.
But Alexander Rishenko.
Yep. Alexander Rishenko, yep.
Doesn't have a house at this point.
He's from the House of Rishenko.
Right.
Except it's an earthly house.
Exactly, so it doesn't really count.
It doesn't really count, yeah.
He goes to the dining hall to eat, and the Klingons start laughing at him, and this older guy starts putting stuff on his plate, which we can only guess tastes vile. They eventually get into it and start battling, and it doesn't help Alexander's street cred that his father comes in and stops the battle, even though Alexander is losing at the time.
Absolutely.
He should have let him fight that fight.
And then wasn't that the question that one of his bullies have said was like, and will you fight for
will you fight the Dominion for him too?
Yeah, will you fight the Jem'Hadar for him too?
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Then, I mean you had to feel really bad for him, actually.
Right. Then we go to Martok's ready room, and Martok is a little bit upset because he heard about it, but not from Worf, who is his first officer. Mm-hmm. There's this great scene on the bridge where everybody's getting ready to battle because Alexander saw something on the sensors. I love this scene, and it also makes me cringe for him. What we find out is there was a simulation program running earlier that day that Alexander forgot to turn off.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And so they were not being attacked, but they thought so because of the simulation. And then everybody starts laughing, and Martok's like, they've accepted him. And Worf's like, yes, but they've accepted him as the ship's fool.
Okay, so I didn't understand that part, but I'm glad you cleared it up for me.
Yes.
That is really funny.
And Martok tries to ask Alexander why he's really there.
Yes.
And Alexander doesn't answer him, but he says that he wants a chance, and Martok says, you just had your chance. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't show honor by being honest with me.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
There's a great scene at the end where the ship is being attacked, and Alexander and the guy who bullies him have to go down and seal up the vents.
Yep.
And you think that they're going to let him off, and Alexander is going to save the day. Uh-huh. But it doesn't really work out like that.
He gets trapped in there.
Yeah. He locks himself in.
And he finally comes back out, and was it Worf? He says, you locked yourself in.
Yeah. People start laughing, and then Worf looks at them, and he gets initiated into the House of Martok.
Right.
I really love that they didn't go the easy route and make him the hero of this episode.
I did that. I like that too because he really had to show. He really had to show that he wanted this so badly.
And to me, he didn't show it.
He didn't show it. I know he didn't show it. Yeah.
He's just like a kid who's searching for his dad's love and doesn't know how to get it.
Right. Exactly.
There's a great episode of TNG we should actually watch where it's actually about kind of this. It's about Alexander not wanting to become a warrior. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really well done. I think it's called Fathers and Sons or something like that. But we can watch it at some point.
And Worf is the guy who plays Worf is still there.
Yes, but it's a different person playing Alexander.
I figured because Alexander was much younger then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it because we've had that conversation about that concept of everyone gets a trophy.
Yeah. And
I think that it's so important today for kids, especially young kids, to learn that there are times where you're going to fail. You are going to have disappointments. You're not going to get what you want, and that you have to work for what you want.
So here's a question that relates to this episode.
Okay.
Is General Martok allowing Alexander into his house a form of a participation trophy? Because Worf is his father.
Right.
But Worf got into the house of Martok because he's proven himself to be an honorable man.
Yes.
And Alexander's is his son. He hasn't proven his honor. If anything, he's dishonored his crew.
He really has, yeah. Well, here's my theory, and I could be completely wrong about this. I'm thinking that maybe Martok let him in, provided that Worf will make Alexander into the warrior that he should be. I will let your son in, but I will, provide that you are going to work on teaching your son how to be a Klingon warrior. But that's just my theory. I don't know if that's true.
Certainly possible, babes.
Yeah. I mean, it may not be a participation trophy. And I hope it isn't.
We'll have to keep on watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. We watched another episode that I really like, and I think you did too.
Yes, I did.
Do you want to give a description? Do you want me to go after it a little bit?
Why don't you go after it for a little bit? And
okay.
this was the episode before, right?
The Klingon episode, I believe, was before this.
Okay.
The episode that we're going to talk now. I think we're talking about them in order.
Okay.
It starts off, Kira is at Quark's, and there's kind of two stories. Just he's at the upper story looking down, and Damar, who I know you don't really know yet.
Yeah.
But he becomes a more pivotal part of the show.
I don't know him at all.
Right. But you didn't know him that long ago.
No, I don't know Wayun either.
And now you two are best buddies, okay?
Not really.
Okay. Good. I had to question your sanity. Anyways. So, Kira's looking down, talking to Rom, and she's like, okay, Damar's coming in the bar. He's going up to Quark's. He lost a pad with some information on it. And what we find out is they're running out of the white. Yes, the white. Keeps the soldiers in line. Yep. We kind of knew that already, but we didn't know how dire the situation really was. Uh-huh. And Damar wrote on his pad that if we're unable to open the wormhole and get more white, we're going to have to kill the Jem'Hadar. Oh, right. Kira. Right. And Rom, along with Jake, have built this plan to steal Damar's pad that has the plans and put it in front of where the Jem'Hadar are staying on the station. So they know what's up. Yep. Mm-hmm. They come and start this disturbance on the promenade. Yeah, they're fighting with each other. Yes. Pretty much. Odo, who is also part of the resistance, obviously he hears about the disturbance. Yes. Is really upset with Major Kira for allowing this to happen. Uh-huh. We should also say that the founder lady, who doesn't really have a name, is on the station because he was trapped when Sisko closed off the wormhole with the mines at the end of season 5. And she knows a lot about Odo. Of course, she's one of the founders. No, I understand that. But she knows, she watches him. Yes. That's what I mean. Of course she knows about Odo. That's because they're both changelings, but she watches him like a hawk, right? So, and I do not like this character. I think she's bad news. And I think, so she meets with Odo in his quarters, correct? Go ahead. And Odo, the founder lady, whatever her name is, founder lady. She doesn't have a name. She doesn't have a name. The lady founder. She knows about his feelings for Major Kira. She knows how he feels about her. And she offers to link with him. Am I on the right track here? Keep going. And so he accepts her hand and they link together. And at the same time, he is gone from his quarters. And he's gone for a really, really long time. And he's supposed to be
he's supposed to be a part of the resistance. He's supposed to be the Bajoran security officer of Deep Space Nine.
Well, he is, but
Or
he's
he is.
supposed to be like an insider who's helping the Federation behind the scenes.
Right, exactly. But he's gone. He's missing in action. And Kira is not aware of this until much later. But I think there's some things that maybe you should fill in, because I think I'm missing some things.
Okay. Kira finds out about this and is upset with Odo. He says to her, babe, I'm not going to link up with this lady again.
He does not call her babe. They're not together.
Good point, babes.
Go on. Go on.
So he promises that to her. They go on about their time. And we're leaving a lot of stuff out just because of...
Yeah.
Go watch these episodes. We're not going to
Yes.
get into the ZL stuff right now.
No, because that's a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
And even so, I don't even understand it yet.
You will soon.
I'm sure I will.
Anyway.
But poor ZL, she's stuck in... all I say is, poor ZL, she's caught in the middle.
Maybe we'll go off on a tangent about ZL after we finish the Odo stuff.
All right.
We'll leave that up in the air. Keep listening.
Okay.
So, they find out through Quark that Damar has found a way to dismantle the mines that are keeping the wormhole closed. Once the wormhole is open, the Jem'Hadar fleet can join Cardassia in their war against the Federation. They have a couple of days to stop them. Rom thinks he knows a way, but in order to do this, certain things have to be turned off by Odo while he's running a security check. They agree to a specific time, but the founder lady is in Odo's quarters.
Yeah.
They decide to link up when Rom is supposed to be, working on everything.
Right, exactly.
So the alarm goes off, Rom gets caught,
Yeah.
and Kira is pissed.
Well, and not only that, he gets arrested.
Yeah, Rom gets arrested.
Yes.
Kira goes to him, yells at him. He doesn't really seem affected. That's pretty much where the episode ends. Now, there's an interesting B-plot, though, with Cisco and the Defiant.
Would you like to go there?
So maybe we should wrap up the Kira-Odo discussion
Yes.
and then talk about that.
Yes, okay.
What are your thoughts on where they are right now?
I'm anxious to see what happens with that, because it seems to me like he has become numb after linking with the founder lady. And I always thought that the founder lady was bad news and that he shouldn't have done that. Because now it seems as if his loyalties are elsewhere. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And it's very, very risky. Yeah, it's because she questioned his loyalties in the middle of the episode.
Kira did.
Yes. Kira questioned his loyalties, and he insisted that he was still loyal to the Federation.
I would make an argument that Odo has the best morality of any of the main characters on the show. Mm-hmm. Do you think that argument still stands after watching this episode?
I am not sure what to think, honestly. I don't know. That is, when I finished watching this episode, it left me really confused. Do you think that's understandable? Why I would be confused?
I get that.
Yeah, I was very confused. I'm like, what is going on here? I thought that he wanted to be away from his people. Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought. I just thought he wanted to do away with ever linking with his people again, because of what happened with the last time it happened.
Do you think the Great Link in some ways is a metaphor for drug use?
Huh. I don't know. That is an interesting observation. Could you expound on that?
Okay. And I'm not even, as somebody who's watched the complete show, I'm not even saying that I believe this, but this is an interesting theory.
Okay.
Odo, up until this point, he's the Rock. He's the dude you can always count on.
Yep.
You may not always like what he does, but you know that he's trying to do the right thing.
He has everybody's best interests.
But when he links up with the founder, he zones out. He
completely loses all touch with reality.
He completely, yeah, exactly. And he's no longer somebody who's reliable.
Yeah.
You know, and she's always saying, well, if you were part of the Great Link, you would understand we need to be part of the Great Link. So it's kind of like she's addicted to it too. And she's trying to push it onto him. And again, I don't know that I believe this, but I'm throwing it out here as an idea.
Whenever she talks to Odo, I always think that she has some kind of agenda. You know, it's not that she's visiting somebody who just happens to be a changeling like she is. It's almost like she wants to take him out of his reality.
In fairness to her, we also know that Odo is a special changeling for a couple of different reasons.
Right.
One being that he found them, I believe, 300 years before they expected any of the changelings they send out to come back home. Mm-hmm. And another being that he's actually killed a fellow changeling. And he's the only one in their people's history to have done that.
Yeah. But that was an accident, wasn't it?
He did it to save people.
I know that was referred to, but when did that actually happen?
If I'm remembering correctly, it was the season finale of the third year where they're on the Defiant and the changeling has taken the ship off course, and the only way to stop it from creating this war is Cisco initiates the self-destruct sequence, and Odo pushes the other changeling into the warp core.
Oh, and it dies.
Yes.
Okay, did we see that one?
We did.
Okay, it's been a while. It has been like, I don't remember that one. I guess if I saw it again, I would remember it. But anyway, yeah, you might be, that's a theory about the Great Link that might be true, or it might be something else. I don't know.
It's something to ponder, babe.
It is something to ponder. I just do not like the founder lady.
No.
I think she's bad news.
I do too.
I think she's bad news.
By the way, that founder lady was in a really good episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Really?
And
was she a changeling?
Not exactly, but if you watch that episode of TNG and you see her playing the character that she plays on DS9, it makes sense in a weird way. It's hard to explain it without seeing the episode.
Yeah,
she plays a different character, but it makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, she was a totally different person on this show.
So it makes her character makes sense on TNG.
Yes, even if you're watching Deep Space Nine, it kind of adds to the mystique of her in a way, I think.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that's a story for another time, Jaylo.
That's right.
Do we want to talk about what happened with Cisco and the Defiant?
Yes, why don't you take that?
Cisco had a victory. He's celebrating. I can never remember people's names. He's been in a bunch of the episodes, but the Admiral comes in, calls him aside, says, hey, listen, you're reassigned. We're putting Dax in charge of the Defiant. They go off to fight some battle, which we don't see on camera. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like that, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Because we're left to the imagination. We know that they won, but we don't know how.
We don't know how they did it, yeah.
And I thought that was so cool.
Uh-huh.
And then at the end of the episode, Dax is giving this ceremony that Cisco used to conduct whenever they would celebrate a victory.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like a cool passing of the torch.
Nice.
And you kind of see Cisco struggling with how his life is changing a bit. His son is in Dominion territory, and he's no longer commanding the Defiant. And so he's dealing with a lot of upheaval in his life.
He is. How drastically his life is changing, yeah.
What did you think about that, babes?
I thought it was really interesting. I really did. I mean, I remember the very first episode that we watched together when he was finding out that he was the new emissary, and with meeting the prophets in the wormhole and trying to deal with that.
To correct you, I know it sounds like a small point.
Yes.
He's always been the emissary.
But he hasn't
known it. He hasn't known it.
He didn't know it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected then.
Okay, keep going, Pablos.
Just how how his life changed when his wife died, and him and Jake had to live on DS9, and the being the emissary, and I mean just a whole bunch of big things has completely changed his life, including this.
Correct.
But that's why I like him so much, because he's such an in-depth character.
Yeah, he is.
There's so many things. There's so many things to this guy, and I just think he's such a great character.
Sisko's amazing.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into ZL, or do we just want to leave that for people?
Why don't we go into that next time?
Okay.
Because we can go on and talk about ZL and Ducat, but I think there's other things that we should talk about.
Gotcha. Okay, babe.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a lot to say about ZL soon.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Oh, yes, you will.
Oh, yes, I will. Okay.
Oh, yes, you will. But
is that good or is that bad?
You'll have to watch.
Oh my!
We'll talk about that soon.
Okay.
Yes. Jaylo.
Yes.
We made dinner last night.
We certainly did.
And we did what we talked about, where we had our 2 minutes alone before we started working in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. How do you feel things went last night?
It was it went really well. It was really smooth. There was no fighting. Well, I mean, we don't really have like
we don't fight all the time in the kitchen.
We don't have like blowout fights, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not like we're explosive with each other. We never got snippy with each other.
Well, we get snippy with each other.
What?
You said we never got snippy with
No, we never got snippy with each other this time.
Yes.
We do get snippy with each other on occasion, but we didn't get snippy with each other this time. Because I think we were a lot more calmer, and we had an idea about what ingredients we needed. I already had the spices prepared in the cabinet, and all the tools that we were using were just right there for us to use, and it was it went really well. It was a big mess, but it went really well.
It got cleaned up, though.
I cleaned it up, yeah.
Yeah.
It was all cleaned up.
In the past, when I've cooked with you,
Yes.
I'll just say, hey, babe, can you get me this? Hey, babe, can you get me that when I need it? Mm-hmm. And this time, when we're starting the process, I said, hey, these are the things we should probably have out ahead of time. Mm-hmm. I think that helped a lot, too.
Yes, it did.
Yes. And I did make a mess in the kitchen. But we should explain what happened.
So Rick was trying to open a can of coconut milk with one of my can openers. And those things are really tricky because they are small cans. Would you agree?
And also, I use a different type of can opener than you use.
Which one? What kind do you use? I mean, I've seen yours.
It's a little bit bigger than yours. And
okay.
I feel that I get a better grip out of mine.
I mean, I actually have another one that might actually help. It's a metal can opener.
Okay.
But that's okay.
That's for next time.
That's for next time. I honestly like using the plastic one better because it's easier to use than the metal one.
Oh, that's weird because I feel the opposite way. But in any event, I was having a little bit of problem with this can of coconut milk. And I flipped it when I'm trying to unscrew it, and it spilled over Alana's countertop. I cleaned off most of it and poured in about half of the coconut milk, but it ended up really good.
It was actually good. I said that it didn't taste as coconutty, but it doesn't have to be like extremely coconutty. But I think everything else made up for it because there's a sweet potato, and you have the spinach, and you also have the tomato sauce, and the lentils, and the rice. and then you also have all the spices like the garam masala and ground ginger, cumin. I mean, everything that would make a curry a curry.
It turned out good, babes.
It was really good.
Yes.
It was really good.
And you played me music during it by Jeffrey Osborne?
Jeffrey Osborne, yes. He's been around since the 70s. I don't know a lot of his stuff, but what I did hear on the radio, I really like. And a couple weeks before that, I think it was, I also showed you some George Benson stuff.
That was really good.
Yeah, I think George Benson is amazing. Jeffrey Osborne is great. There was actually some live music. I guess what Amazon does is they have like some live versions of songs or concerts or whatever. It was really good. It was really fun to listen to that.
I liked it, babe.
Yeah, it was good.
Jaylo.
Yes.
We move on to the movie portion.
Oh,
of
yes.
Our discussion.
I got a lot to say about that.
Okay.
Yes.
You had never seen the film The Bad News Bearers, starring Walter Matthau and Tatum O'Neill. And Vic Morrow.
Yes.
When he still had the head.
Yes.
So I decided, since we were doing a kids' sports night, to show you that film.
Right.
Give me your thoughts. Do you want to give away any of the... Well, I'll let you decide how to do it.
So the basic premise of this movie is that he was this rich parent, hires Walter Matthau to be the manager of the Bad News Bears. His name was his last name was Buttermaker. I forgot what his first name was. Mr. Buttermaker. It's kind of a funny name. But seriously, that was his name, and people were making fun of it. Mr. Buttermaker. Mr. Buttermaker is this grumpy old lush. He's an alcoholic. He used to be a ball player. He used to play baseball, and I guess it seems to. Would you agree that it seems like his life's kind of falling apart?
Without question.
He's cleaning pools. I mean, that's what he does in his spare time, right? He cleans pools.
He's been in a couple bad relationships. We know that.
He's been in bad relationships. He can't relate to children.
He never made it as a successful ball player or even coach.
Not at all. And so all he likes to do is drink alcohol until he's passed out onto the field. Now, he was hired by this rich parent to be the manager for the Bad News Bears, which is unfortunately in the beginning not a very successful Little League baseball team. In fact, they're very, very bad. Very bad. Because he didn't give them adequate training, and this is only the beginning, but he quickly realizes, well, wait a minute, I have a chance to shape this team into a really, really good team. And I'm going to do that because I'm guessing, in my own opinion, that he wanted to live vicariously through these children. Am I right? Would you say that?
I don't know about that. That's an interesting observation.
I mean,
I need to sit with that, to be honest.
I didn't think about it until now, but I'm thinking because he didn't make it as a ball player. Completely, he never made it a career as that, but he realized that this team really had a chance to make it big because they were like the laughing stock of the town.
So I'll give you my perspective on the films until you presented that theory.
Yeah.
Or the film, I guess, because I have not watched the sequels.
Yeah.
And Walter Matthau is only in this one, I believe. I always thought that the only reason he pushed the team was because he hated Vic Morrow. And he wanted to beat the Yankees, I believe they are.
The Yankees, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were named after real teams.
But you may have a point there, babe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because well, anyway, I'll continue on. I won't go too long into the plot because I want you guys to see it. But so what happens is, in order to make the team big, they recruit 2 more kids. One of them is Kelly Leek, who's this punk kid on a dirt bike, and he's kind of like one of those kids that doesn't really care about authority, and
he smokes.
He smokes a lot, and he rides dirt bikes while baseball games are happening, and he'll ride it on the field. So they recruit him because he's really good. He proves himself to be a really good baseball player, and he also recruits Tatum O'Neal, who plays Amanda. Backstory: Amanda was the daughter of the woman that he used to date. So it's kind of odd. Kind of a strange dynamic there, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I should say any more.
We are going to give away the ending.
I don't want to say any more.
Oh, you don't want to talk about that. Okay, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
Overall, if we're not going to talk about the ending, can we talk about the scene with Tatum O'Neal and the beer? Or no?
Yes, I think we should.
This movie would be problematic to make today. And one of the reasons is because of that scene where she's talking to Walter Matthau about how she wants to be part of his life and she wants him to go back with his mom. He gets really upset and throws a beer in her face.
Right, yeah.
And I think she's like 12 or 13.
Yeah, she's trying to set that date up between her and his mom, and her mom, rather.
I love this scene, but I understand that a lot of people these days would have an issue with it. What are your thoughts?
Well, so I thought that this film was enjoyable to an extent because I thought that there were some really disturbing parts of it. One of the parts being the beer scene. The other part was that there were kids that were yelling racist slurs at the not at people, but
they were using
racist slurs to describe the people on their team.
Yeah.
And then there was one particular part that I thought was very disturbing when Walter Matthau was talking to Tatum O'Neal's character about she was trying to recruit. This is before Kelly was on the team. She was trying to recruit Kelly, or not recruit Kelly. I'm sorry.
You could say that. I'd say that's accurate.
Yes. Well, okay. So they were challenging each other to a game of foosball as a way for her to recruit Kelly.
I think it was foosball or air hockey, but one of the two.
It was foosball.
Okay.
You said, and I played air hockey. I wasn't air hockey.
Okay.
Anyway, so she said, if I win, you get to play baseball on our team. Well, she lost, and so she had to promise him a date on Friday night. On a Friday night. And so Walter Matthau says, asks her about her date. He's like, 11-year-olds go on dates? And she's like, oh, yeah. And then she comments by saying, I know an 11-year-old kid who's on the pill. And I'm like, what?
For some reason, I didn't find that disturbing.
I did. I really did. I mean.
You think that's too late to go on the pill? Or? No, go ahead. Keep talking, babes.
You know exactly why I would think it was disturbing. Well, being that she is almost 12 years old, and she's talking about adult subjects like, subjects that teenagers and adults would be familiar with. About birth control pills, I don't know. That's just...
It's weird because I grew up around kids like that. And to some extent, you can make an argument. I was a little bit of a kid like that. So to me, I don't look at it as a big thing.
Yeah, I thought it was very disturbing to me.
Wow.
Yeah, kids wouldn't be able to get away with that in movies today, I don't think.
Do you think that that's good or bad? Because in one way, you could say... we don't want kids doing this in films, but I could make the counter argument of, well, that's a sign that our society is too shielded for children. We shield children too much.
Well, here's the thing though. I understand why you would think that, but I've always believed that there's a time and a place for everything, and I think that I just don't think that children should be I just don't know that children should be involved in those kinds of topics. And I think that there are age-appropriate ways to deal with that without, without having children being caught up in that. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I just don't know. I mean, yes, children shouldn't be shielded, but at the same time, I think there's a time and a place for everything.
Fair enough. We agree to disagree. Without giving away the ending, were you satisfied with how this film wrapped up?
I was. Going back to the concept of everyone gets a trophy, I think that this showed that kids are going to react the way they react, and sometimes they're not going to lose gracefully, although it would be great if they did.
You just basically gave away the ending.
Oh.
They lost. And the other team tries to say, okay, we gave you some shit, but you're basically good kids. And they're just like...
Well, there's some things in the middle that add up to this, and I'm not going to say anymore.
True.
But it's been it's been 44 years since this movie came out?
About, yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, then that's really not our fault.
Yeah, that's not our fault.
Yeah, you said that too. You said it too for other movies, so I think I should only... I think it's only fair that
I was going to leave it up to you how much to give away this film.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say what the other things are, but...
You like the way this ended?
I did.
Overall, you feel that it's good that you've seen this movie?
Yes, but I don't know that I'd want to watch it again.
That's fair.
It's one of those movies where I can see it once, but I don't know if I'll watch it again.
You told your mother last night that you were going to watch The Bad News Bears.
She didn't comment. She just said, okay.
She probably hasn't seen the movie.
She said, have fun.
Right. I'm guessing she hasn't watched it.
Yeah, but I think yeah, by the way, you just gave somebody away.
Oh, that you have a mother? I didn't say that if there was any... I don't feel I gave her away.
You didn't?
No.
All right.
If she asks you, Alana, what are your thoughts going to be to her of the film?
I would say watch it at your own discretion.
Okay.
Because yes, it may have had a PG rating in the 70s.
Yeah.
But I would say that it would probably be PG-13, honestly. Not quite an R, but PG-13.
Are you going to tell her that you enjoyed it, though, or no?
Oh, I thought it was enjoyable, but to an extent.
But will you tell her that?
I don't know, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, she may not even have heard of that movie. I mean, she knows who Tatum O'Neal is. And she knows... I'm sure she's probably heard of Walter Matthau, but I don't know that she's seen the movie.
Very good, babe. So my track record still stands of showing you good movies.
Yes.
Good.
Although, albeit this one was a little bit disturbing for me, but
I told you it was going to be a little bit out there.
Well, I was a little bit worried too, because every time I watch movies with kids in it, and people say something like, "Oh, this was like a PG in its time or an R in its time," and I get a little worried because when kids are involved, I don't know that I want to, I'm not sure if I want to watch it.
I will tell you this.
Does that make sense at all?
It kind of makes sense. I don't look at it the same way, though, but I get what you're saying. In the second film, Tatum O'Neal isn't there, but Kelly's there, and he's raising their daughter. And this is
their daughter?
This is 3 years later, so they had a 2-year-old daughter in the second film. And Kelly can't really be on the team because of being a dad.
Oh, that's weird. Did you see the whole thing?
No, I just made that up.
Are you sure?
I just made that up.
This is terrible. I can't believe I fell for that.
I have not seen the sequels. I heard that they suck, though.
That would be kind of weird, though, if they did have a 2-year-old daughter.
Yes.
And
she abandoned the family to go take ballet classes.
I can't believe I fell for that. Okay, you'll have a good laugh at that, folks.
Thank you.
And for that...
Tickle time. Jaylo.
What?
You showed me the SandLot. Oh, so should we talk about our little problem watching the SandLot?
What?
It made me laugh and it was annoying at the same time.
Well, what are you talking about?
Okay.
Oh, yes. I'll tell it.
Go ahead.
I think it's kind of funny. So Rick has a subscription to Disney Plus. So his subscription to Disney Plus would allow him to watch anything on it. Well, we're trying to find the SandLot, and it said something like the SandLot coming home or whatever, or going home.
I had checked earlier the week, and I typed in the SandLot, and it came up, and it's the SandLot in big words. So I thought, oh, this is the SandLot, no problem. We'll watch it with Alana this weekend.
Well, we put it on, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is not the beginning of the movie. And you're like, really? I said, wait, let me listen to this some more. So I'm listening to it, and I'm like, this is not the movie that we're supposed to watch.
Because I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, and he looks at the date, and he's like, 2007? Well, because the original movie that I wanted us to watch came out in 1993, when we were much younger. And I love that. I love the movie because I used to watch it when I was a teen. We watched it a lot. My sisters and I really enjoyed it. And anyway, so we had that problem, but we figured it out pretty quickly.
We found it.
Yes.
I've heard about this film since it first came out. Honestly, it sounded like a stupid idea to me when I saw the previews to it. And I don't know if it did too well, but over the years it's become kind of a cult hit. Then I saw it with you last night, and I gotta say, it's not my favorite movie ever made. But it's a good movie. It's a good kids movie.
Yeah, I figured you'd like it. It's like about a whole summer of playing baseball
with these kids, and
yep.
Our narrator just moved into the neighborhood before the summer started.
Yep.
He meets this other boy named Benny Rodriguez.
Yes.
And Benny is super into baseball. Takes the kid out to play.
Yep, he's pretty much taking him under his wing.
Yes. They lose a ball that goes over this fence. And we hear that there's this beast who kills children that lives on the other side.
Huge dog.
So we're not allowed to go over the fence.
Right. Every time they lose a ball, they're like, forget it. We can get another ball. We can't get it back because the dog's going to eat all the kids. And,
One day, what's the name of the little kid who's the star of the movie? His character?
Scotty Smalls.
Okay. One day, Scotty's stepdad goes out of town. And
he steals a ball.
Yes. He
steals a ball that his stepdad had, and it's autographed by Babe Ruth. And the funny part about this movie, I have to say this,
Go
Bubs. The funny part about this movie is
my cameo.
No.
Go ahead.
That would be funny, though. The funny part about this movie is that every one of the kids on the team knows who Babe Ruth is, except for him.
Yes.
He does not know who Babe Ruth is. He's like, well, who is it signed by? He's like, yeah, it's
some lady.
Some lady. Your name is Baby Ruth. And they're like, what? Babe Ruth. And they're like, and they're making fun of him because they're like, he probably don't even know who Babe Ruth is. And they're like, and he's like, everybody keeps talking about Babe Ruth. Who is she? And you know what? I'm not even really into baseball, but even I know who Babe Ruth is.
Well, there's that great scene where they forge Babe Ruth's name and he puts a fake ball in. It's just as a placeholder until they get the real one.
Yeah.
And he's looking at pictures of Babe Ruth, and his mom walks in, and he's like, who is that? And she's like, oh, that's Babe Ruth. And he's like, even my mom knew who Babe Ruth is, and she's a grown-up girl.
It was just so funny. He was just so clueless. Who is she? And then and then it was even funnier when, he was talking to somebody about Babe Ruth, and he's like, oh yeah, George Herman Ruth, and I'm like, oh, you're just acting like you know who Babe Ruth is. You're just acting like it. You just realized what his name was. You didn't want to look stupid.
Right. Eventually, Benny gets the ball and is chased by the dog, which I believe is a pit bull.
Yeah, and by this time the ball is all chewed up.
Right. It's super over-exaggerated by how far the dog will go to get this kid. Like they
Yeah,
go in
like
a
he
movie
bites
theater.
like there was a scene where he bites a chunk of Benny's pants.
Right, but before that, the dog runs through a movie theater. They
Yeah.
go through like an outdoor parade.
And a picnic.
But it works in this movie when they do it. Like,
and I forgot that part.
yeah.
Wasn't there a part when this kid's like, "Hey, look, mommy, a doggy," and they're at the picnic, right?
Maybe. I don't remember little kid saying that, but it's possible.
It was funny because I forgot that part about the dog, running through a movie theater and then going to the picnic.
It works though. It was really, really good. I like. After this happens, they go and they knock on the door of the owner and they tell him the story, and he's like, "Well, why didn't you just ask me? I would have gotten you the ball."
Yeah, and by the way, side note, the owner was played by James Earl Jones.
Yes, CNN himself. Alana's favorite name.
No, it's not. No, but he was also the voice of Verizon.
Okay.
Welcome to Verizon.
Good for him.
And he plays an old blind man.
Of course, they wouldn't have a real blind person.
They wouldn't have a real blind person, but I thought he was good. But it was funny. He's like, "Well, why didn't you knock on the door? I would have gotten it for you." Like, I can't believe it. And they're like really upset because when they get the ball, all these balls appear.
Yeah.
Right.
So what happens is Benny jumps back over the fence, and the dog goes after him, but the fence gives out and lands on the dog.
Yep.
So Scotty goes and eventually coerces the other friends to help him lift the fence. The dog gets up, runs. First, he starts licking Scotty. They look at each other for a few moments. Mm-hmm. Then he runs off. The kids follow him, and they find all their balls.
Are they hidden somewhere?
I think they're hidden in the dog's doghouse, if I remember right.
Yeah, so it's like he was keeping the balls for them.
Yeah. And we find out that his owner, blind dude, is super into sports because he used to play baseball.
Yep.
Now, here's something I felt that this was like a Hollywood thing.
Yeah.
They didn't go into the segregation of football. I mean, in basketball. What is the game? Baseball.
Baseball, not basketball.
They didn't talk about the segregation of the sport because they just said, well, you didn't play in the major leagues because you were blind. But black people weren't allowed to play in the major leagues until 1947. Right. And this guy presumably played in the early teens to early 20s in baseball. So they kind of Hollywooded that up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that it would have been really necessary to say that. I mean, I know that would have been historically inaccurate. But I don't know that because if Babe Ruth was playing in 1932, obviously that would have been historically inaccurate for him to play in 1932, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know that it would have really mattered if that was mentioned.
Did he play that late? I don't know enough about.
Well, because remember in the movie when he was talking about
oh yeah,
1932.
You're correct. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he only played into the early 20s, but again, baseball not my sport. So.
Right. But because I actually remembered that, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, that would be historically inaccurate if he wasn't able to play in 1932, because
of his blindness and not because of the fact that he was black.
Either or, yeah. Well, because remember when they said that it was implied that he knew Babe Ruth. Yeah. Right, and the fact that he was black, and then you said that black people weren't allowed to play in the major leagues until 1947.
Right. I wish that they would have been a little bit more honest.
It's just a movie.
I know, babe, but be real. It's part of the nerfing of the world for kids. It's a way of rewriting the past.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't think about it, I guess.
Okay.
I didn't think about it. It was just a fun movie.
I did enjoy this film a lot. One thing that really stuck out to me is he has a stepfather who is not an evil person. You know what I mean?
Well, not all stepfathers and mothers are evil people.
I know that, babe. But I'm saying in film,
yes,
especially kids' movies, they usually try to make the stepfather out to be the bad guy.
Really evil, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I did not know that Dennis Leary was a stepfather.
I know he's an asshole, but he was good in this movie.
Yeah, he even said it in his song.
That's a great song, by the way.
Yeah, I heard it. It wasn't that.
An asshole. He's an asshole.
All right. We're getting off track here.
Asshole.
We're getting off track here.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I guess I didn't know that Dennis Leary was the stepfather in the movie until you mentioned it. But I also was surprised, and now that I think about it, I was surprised that he didn't do any comedic things in the movie because he was a comedian.
Yeah, he's good in the film, though.
He is.
I like that, and I really enjoyed when they go swimming. And there's this fat kid trying to flex these imaginary muscles to these girls. He does a cannonball into the pool, gets them wet. But then the other kid pretends to drown so the lifeguard will step in and rescue him, and then he kisses her.
He kisses her, yeah.
That was awesome.
That was really funny.
He calls him a pervert and ends up having 9 kids with him.
Well, he just gave that away.
Uh-oh.
He just gave that away. Backtrack. Okay.
Sorry.
And then and I like that one scene where they're making s'mores.
I gotta tell you something.
What?
I don't think I told you this last night.
Oh, what happened? What did I do?
No, you didn't do anything. Well, you mean you've done stuff, but that's not what I have to talk to you about right now. I have a friend of mine.
Yes.
I love this person.
Okay.
He shall remain nameless.
Do I know this person?
No, you know of him.
All right.
For years, whenever I hear him talk to somebody, he'll be like, "You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls." And I just said, "Oh, that's just a saying he made up." And then I watched this movie, and the s'mores scene comes up, and I'm like,
"You're killing me, Smalls."
And I just started laughing.
You're killing. Oh, really?
Yes, because I'm like, "Oh, that's where he got it from." I thought he made that up.
You're killing me, Hammond. Yeah, it's a great line. You're killing me, Smalls. Well, what I thought was really funny about the s'mores scene is when he's talking about the. Is that what you were laughing about when he was talking about how they make the s'mores?
Yes, that's why I was laughing.
You put the chocolate on the ground.
It wasn't because him talking about the making of the s'mores. I was thinking about my friends.
Well, then he goes, and then you roast a mallow. It's like, it's not a mallow. It's a mellow. It's a marshmallow. But the way that he described it was really, really funny. And it's like, you're killing me, Smalls. Well, now you can tell this friend of yours that you now know where that line came from.
I will. I'm supposed to talk to him this week, actually.
Yeah, you can tell him about that. I think I have an idea about who that might be.
Oh.
But
overall, I like this movie.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies that I used to watch when I was a teen. Yeah, as I've told you many times.
Having just said that, had I seen it when it first came out, I was around 10, so maybe just like 1 or 2 years younger than the kids in the movie. I don't think I would have liked it.
Really?
No.
Why not?
I don't know why, but you know how, like, I've told you that I'll have this where I'll watch a movie that's really good and I'll regret not seeing it when it came out?
Uh-huh.
I don't regret that with this movie. I think I needed to be this age to enjoy this film. And I know that sounds odd because it's a kids film.
Yeah, it is.
But I wasn't really into kids movies when I was 10.
And I watched a ton of kids movies.
Yeah.
So I know a lot more about kids movies than you probably have seen. I know quite a bit of them. I watched a lot of kids movies.
I think I needed to be this age to enjoy a kids movie like this.
Now, would you have felt the same way about A League of Their Own?
I think I probably would have had to have been a teenager to really enjoy it, like late teens.
Okay, because A League of Their Own came out in 1993, but I enjoyed it.
I think it was 92, but it's
92, 93, whichever.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it even back then. I really, and that's why I wanted to show that to you last week, because it's a great movie. It's women are involved in playing baseball, which you don't really see.
Yeah. Also, I had a little bit of that like man energy. I mean, I still have it, but it was more like men are the best. I don't need to watch a film about some ladies playing baseball.
Right. Right.
And I grew out of that, hopefully.
Right.
Last week.
Last week.
Or sooner than that. I don't know.
Sooner than that, yeah.
It was good, babes.
Yeah, and one more time. You're killing me, Smalls.
Yes.
Yeah, you tell your friend that.
I will.
I think he'd appreciate that.
I think you'll get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, so I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I always enjoy watching this film when I can. It's been years since I've seen it. I don't even remember the last time I saw it before yesterday. It's been that long.
Very nice, babes.
Yes.
You had some issues with sleep last night, Jaylo.
Oh, man. I didn't sleep at all. I don't even know why. I don't know if it was the air, because that would be a really good reason why, or it's just that sometimes my body, you know how sometimes where you have those nights where your body just doesn't want to shut down? My body did not want to shut down for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I woke up late that morning or what, but it just would not shut down.
I know at one point you were going through your closet because I heard you.
I was getting out some lavender oil. Lavender oil, for those of you who don't know, apparently helps with sleep. You sprinkle some on your pillow and it's supposed to help you sleep, and it smells really good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It also helps with wounds and bruises and yeah, and motion sickness too. By the way.
Very good.
Yeah, I really am getting. I'm really enjoying using essential oils because they really are good for you.
That's awesome, babes.
Yeah.
I finished a book.
Oh, really?
The book Rebel Chef
Yes.
by Dominique. Is it pronounced Cran? I think her last name is.
Possibly.
It's very interesting. The short overview is she was adopted at 6 months old. She's a French citizen. Her adoptive parents were great. They were unable to have children of their own. They had already adopted a little boy. As they're leaving the orphanage, she somehow grabs his feet and they decide to adopt her. Her and her family get along great. Awesome relationship. In her 20s, around the age of 24, she moves from France to San Francisco and becomes a chef. Mm-hmm. It's about her journey to becoming a Michelin star-rated chef and the experiences that go along with it. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was great.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Is she still alive?
She is. But she's suffering from breast cancer right now.
Oh.
Or at least that was what remember, I read this right before I went to sleep last night. The implication was that she was still going through chemotherapy, I believe, when the book was being written. And I think it came out earlier this year.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I don't know how her business is doing with COVID either. But
And how old is this woman, roughly?
If I had to take a guess, I'd want to say around 55.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's well into middle age then.
Yeah, she had an interesting story about her birth mother. The mom was born after World War II and raised in an orphanage. She had a couple of kids before Dominique that were taken away. Dominique is born. The mom tries to do the right thing, gets a job, gets a nanny, and 6 months into her third child's life, she just goes AWOL.
Wow.
The authorities are called. They take Dominique away and place her in an orphanage. Mm-hmm. According to this book, the way French law worked back then is that you had a year to file for custody of your child back. Mm-hmm. Dominique obtains letters that her mom sent to the court. And according to her, the court's response was very rude and very matter of fact, I guess would be a better way of putting it.
Matter of fact, yeah.
She speculates that it's not that her mom didn't love her, but her mom was going through her own issues, and that it must have been difficult for somebody like her mom to figure out how to go through the proper legal hoops to get her daughter back.
Right.
And she says that she feels really, really sad for her mom. She knows who she is, but she hasn't reached out to her.
Wow.
Any thoughts about that, babe?
I don't know. I just think it's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, babes.
Yeah, it sounds like she's been through quite a bit. But I'm glad that she was adopted into a great family, it seems like. Because a lot of times, maybe not a lot of times, but there are times where you hear about children that were adopted at a very, very young age, but their families are just horrible, horrible families.
Yes.
Not all the time, though.
Once in a while, though.
Well, I know of one, I won't say the person's name, but I know of one family that turned out to be not so great. Well, at least the parents weren't great. And my friend was adopted by them when she was a baby.
Wow.
And it just, yeah, her life with them has just gone downhill. I mean, ever since we were in high school together, it's just terrible.
Oh,
very
sucks.
chaotic. Yeah, very chaotic.
Yes.
But that's in observing them is quite crazy. Yeah.
Alana.
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
I don't think so. I really enjoyed the movies. I thought this baseball thing was really cool. Yeah. What about you? What are your thoughts about anything else?
I can't think of anything. I think that after this, I know you're tired. We should probably make out. Who knows, maybe even a little bit more.
Oh my goodness.
Then watch an episode of DS9, just one.
Yes.
And then you pack me some food to go, and I will leave you to your rest, my dear. What do you think about that?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, so we kiss now, just to see if we're compatible. This is our first kiss. Oh, gee.
Okay, stop it.
Okay. All right, Jaylo.
Is that gonna be our Is that gonna be our ongoing gag at the end of towards the end of the episode?
Well, as I told you, I would actually prefer a blowjob, but
all right. Come on now.
For kissing. Also for kissing.
Okay.
All right.
Parents may be watching this, by the way.
Well, this is a character, and you give me the script ahead of time, which is why I stumble over my words, because it's hard for me to read the script that you write out.
This is no script.
All right.
I do not write scripts.
Okay, whatevs. Babe, I love you.
I love you too.
Nothing else to say, except until next time.
Until next time, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.